And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God said, let the water under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called his seas. And God saw that it was good. Kenneth Alfred Ham is an Australian Christian fundamentalist, young earth creationalist, and apologist living in the United States. He is the president of Answers in Genesis, a creationalist apologetics organization that operates the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter. Before my trip to the Ark Encounter, I stumbled upon this Atheist YouTube channel discussing the Ark Encounter. Now, I didn't watch the whole video through. I just saw the beginning parts where it was speaking about the lack of attendance to the Ark. So when I returned home, that's when I watched the remaining of their video.
Back to the Ark Encounter. I have all four of you here as part of a conference video call because I want to talk about the opening day and the protest that went along with it. Tracy Moody, I'll let you start us off.
The Bill Nye film had a drone that they flew up over the protest to get a shot of the parking lot. And I'd say it was probably about an eighth full at noon. So it was a huge disappointment, I think, for Ken Ham, and obviously really good news for all of us.
Hey you all, so I'm at the Ark Encounter. Sorry for the volume because of the wind. Anyway, I'm getting ready to go in there. Y'all see the boat in the background? They say it takes about 5 to 6 hours to go through this whole boat, which is good because I had a huge breakfast today at Cracker Barrel, which probably was 12 to 1300 calories, literally, because they had the calories beside the meal. So anyway, that's all right. I'm gonna work it off, so I'm not gonna feel guilty about it.
I was joined by my friend and fellow activist Matt Dillahunty, because if you're going to tour the Ark, you should do so 2 by 2. Here's one of the first things I saw inside the exhibit. It was a wood carving. Now, it's hard to make out what's happening. To me, it looks like Dumbledore levitating a tiny, bathtub toy ark while standing next to a snake and a severed leg, with the top of the carving populated with various animals under a giant phoenix. And Jesus, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what it's supposed to represent.
I didn't make it to the Creation Museum where Ken Ham has most of the dinosaur exhibits. In my opinion, I don't believe that Ken Ham built this art replica to bring awareness of an important event in the Bible. It's obvious that Ken Ham has intertwined his evolution beliefs in with the Bible. I personally don't believe that there were ever dinosaurs, and it would have been wise for Ken Ham to never have included them in the whole Ark Encounter project, especially showing dinosaurs with Adam and Eve. This leaves a very confusing understanding not only for unbelievers, but for believers as well. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creepy thing that creepeth upon the earth. Now, do you think that man could have dominance over those two T-Rex dinosaurs? Could you imagine them going on the ark 2 by 2? Number one, they would eat all the animals in there. And number two, they wouldn't go 2 by 2 up there. They have their own nature if they ever existed, which I don't believe. But I can't believe that Ken Ham even put them on display to even make it look like us Christians believe that. And it's just something that he has a fondness of these dinosaurs, and we can't put that fondness in God's word just because we think dinosaurs look cool.
I stumbled upon this fantastic diorama. It depicts pre-flood wickedness. People back then weren't thrown to the lions; they were thrown to the dinosaurs. Oh, Ken Ham, you just cracked me up, man.
Of course, there would be dinosaurs.
Right. I was a little disappointed that he didn't include dragons on the boat, because I hadn't dove deep into creationism before I went there, but I went to the Creation Museum the next day, and so I learned they think there's actually dragons on this boat.
Pterodactyls were dragons, yeah.
Right. And they were well, in whatever, they had some sort of pterodactyls in like the very first room of the Ark. I have no idea what the hell they actually were, but for some reason, like, there's no mention of dragons like anywhere on the Ark. I felt like in general the displays they had set up didn't really offer much information. It was more of just this is what atheists or skeptics think, and they're wrong, we're right.
So my question is that when I went downstairs, I noticed that you guys have like dinosaurs in combination with regular animals.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out, how come the dinosaurs got extinct but not the other animals? Why was it just them?
This ministry answered that question for me too, because I was raised with the evolutionary thinking that things were evolving and then they died off. But here, death didn't start happening until, man's first sin. So God had to, I would like you to go over here to this exhibit over here and see where the day one, all the days of creation, and mankind was created on the
Right, but I'm just trying to figure out
why
did the dinosaurs that you guys
that's
had
another theory.
Why did they get extinct with all the giraffes and all the goats and the
Well, that would have happened.
They were okay.
That would have happened after the flood, because the food. I gotta turn my radio off. But just seeing this days of creation, we were created on mankind was created on day 6. The land animals were created that same day, so they live side by side. And I'm not doing very good.
No, so there's no really. So you're like me. You don't know.
Well,
I don't know either.
I do know, but it's hard for me to be telling you in real brief way.
Yeah, I'm just like, why did the dinosaurs get extinct if they were coexisting with them? Why is it just them?
You could look up upstairs on level 3. They're talking about the Ice Age and how the food source got real bad for the dinosaurs. And they...
Really? With all the bears and giraffes and the goats, and they had all that?
Yeah, I know. Is it my break?
Yes, it is.
Oh, saved by the bell, aren't you?
You are just sweet though.
I asked her once, and when I was downstairs, I noticed that there were dinosaurs, and I had a question for her, wondering how come the dinosaurs got extinct, but all the other animals, like the giraffes and the cows, the bears, and the cats and dogs, how come they didn't get extinct, but how come the dinosaurs did? If they were coexisting with Noah's Ark.
It shouldn't have been in the Ark.
Well, I mean, I noticed that you had dinosaurs.
I did too, but
there.
I don't know why.
So I'm just trying to
I've
figure
got that
out.
question before, and I don't know the answer because I don't know why.
Oh, okay. So we're both at it.
Yes.
We both have question marks.
Same question on that.
Okay. Well, thanks for being a good sport about it.
All right.
You know, I love my senior citizens, but this lady on the left couldn't wait a few moments of me being in her way. And instead of her just saying excuse me, she beeps her scooter horn at me. Well, at least she didn't run me over. So I'll give her a senior pass this time. But next time,
I'm gonna call the mall security on you.
hey y'all, how y'all liking the Ark Encounter experience so far? I am probably almost through 3/4 of it. I still have a little bit more left to go. So even though I was disappointed to see all the dinosaurs displays downstairs in the Ark, I was happy to come up to the 3rd floor of the Ark and see all of the scriptures being posted on the walls and answers to a lot of questions that people have about why things happen in the world. You know, why did God let this happen or that happen? And they answered it scripturally through the Bible. And they also showed you how to get saved. So I did like the fact that they had that on the wall so that people could see that.
It is the single most successful protest that I've ever participated in, and I love the way that it was put together. It was very professionally done. One of the unprofessional aspects of it was that he had arranged to have porta potties delivered, and one of the drivers called to see where he was supposed to. He was already en route. Yeah. When he realized that it was to an atheist protest of Noah's Ark, he says, "I can't deliver to you."
That's called discrimination, boys and girls.
Yeah, they had a signed contract and everything too.
Yeah.
You know, Jim and the Tri-State Freethinkers were working on this billboard campaign, Genocide and Incest Park. I don't think they ever got anybody to actually agree.
Not one company would post that sign.
Even though Ken Ham dropped the ball on the Ark, it was still good to see some God-fearing folks refusing to put up that atheist sign.
Inside the Ark Encounter, Matt Dillahunty and I discovered one moment of convergence where we and Ken Ham absolutely agree. The placard said, "If I can convince you that the flood was not real, then I can convince you that heaven and hell are not real." Hey, Ken, you're absolutely right.
I must have missed this plaque with a red serpent eel behind it when I was at the Ark. I didn't realize that it was there until I saw the atheist taking pictures with it. With this quote, Ken Ham sounds like an atheist himself. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on that. I pray that the atheists realize that God is the master builder of this world. There is no way that the universe just exploded and designed itself. I believe that deep down inside, atheists know that there is a God. Atheists are constantly having to stomp down that still small voice that's inside of them that's telling them that there is a God. Most of the atheists that I've encountered all have the same mocking, sarcastic, condescending, and debating attitude. I believe that's one of their mechanisms and tools, not only to continue convincing themselves, but also simultaneously trying to convince others. Atheists feel better in more numbers. Atheists also go after kids and young adults. One of the ways that they convert them is by making them feel stupid for believing in God and not science. Another way they go about it is to highlight false converts of Christianity or showcase deceived lukewarm Christians with doctrine errors. One would have to wonder why atheists zone in mostly on Christians and how they go out of their way to oppose the faith. Atheists say that the Bible was written by man, but they constantly forget that their books were written by man too.